of a slow evolutionary growth till the consciousness suddenly blazed forth owing to the interposition of force, apparently from an extraneous source. 1. The Logos Solar System Sirius 2. 7 Heavenly Men Planetary Scheme Pleiades 3. Heavenly Man Earth Chain Venus. The second method therefore is that which is brought about by the hastening of the evolutionary process through influences from outside. These tend to awaken consciousness, and to bring about the merging of the poles. The first method touched upon was that of the earlier solar system. The method we are now considering is the distinctive one of this solar system, and will persist till the end of the Mahamanvantara. That the earlier method was seen in the moon chain is only evidence of the steadfastness of the law of repetition by which every large cycle includes, in its earlier stages, all the lesser, and repeats the earlier procedure. This is a recognized fact, for instance, in the building of man's physical body, for the fetus reproduces all earlier stages, and forms till the human is achieved. Again, as we know, the fourth round reproduces briefly the earlier three but has its own distinctive quality. B. The method of initiation. In this second method the rods of initiation are used to effect certain results. These rods are of 4 kinds. 1. Cosmic, used by a cosmic logos in the initiations of the solar logos, and of the 3 major planetary logoi. 2. Systemic, used by a solar logos in the initiations of the planetary logos. 3. Planetary, used by a planetary logos for initiatory purposes, and for the 3rd, the 4th, and 5th major initiations, with the 2 higher. 4. Hierarchical, used by an occult hierarchy for minor initiations, and for the first 2 initiations of Manas by the Bodhisattva. 131 Initiation Human and Solar, page 126.29 When man individualized in Lemurian days, about 18 million years ago, it was the application of the rod of initiation to the logos of our earth chain which brought about the event and touched into activity certain centers in his body with their corresponding groups. This application, bringing about consciousness on some plane, may be regarded as literally the awakening of the lives concerned to participate in intelligent work on the mental plane. Animal man was conscious on the physical, and on the astral planes. By the stimulation effected by the electric rod, this animal man awoke to consciousness on the mental. Thus the 3 bodies were coordinated, and the thinker enabled to function in them. All rods of initiation cause certain effects. A. Stimulation of the latent fires till they blaze. B. Synthesis of the fires through an occult activity that brings them within the radius of each other. C. Increase of the vibratory activity of some center, whether in man, a heavenly man, or a solar logos. D. Expansion of all the bodies, but primarily of the causal, this also in speaking of all the 3 types of entities. All these results were seen when the heavenly man of our scheme took initiation 18 million years ago. This initiation was brought about as earlier pointed out by a peculiar juxtaposition of chains, globes and schemes, and caused such a stimulation of all the latent manasic units within his body that a downflow of pure manas from the planetary manasic permanent atom was possible along the path of the planetary and askana channel which exists in the case of the planetary logos, and which has not to be built as in the case of man. Along with this juxtaposition came a similar alignment with one of the Pleiades, permitting of manasic influence from that source. 132 Secret Doctrine. 30, 13,331 Third, the 3rd method of individualization is the one to be followed in the next solar system, though it will have its faint beginnings in this one. It is not based on latent activity as in the first case, nor in electrical polarity, as in the second, but in a peculiar process of occult abstraction, using the word abstraction in its basic sense as the drawing out of essence. This occult abstraction is brought about by an effort of the will at present incomprehensible. The first method of individualization is that of the third aspect, or latent activity, and follows the line of least resistance under the law of economy. The second method is the purely electrical one, and works under the law of attraction. Whilst the third method lies hidden in dynamic will and is as yet to us impossible and incomprehensible. 2. Planetary menace. We sought in the foregoing to understand somewhat the origin of menace, whether cosmic or otherwise, through the consideration of human individualization and the method thereof. We saw that individualization is the conscious apprehension of the self of its relation to all that constitutes the not-self, and that it is evoked in three ways, of which only two as yet are even dimly comprehensible. In each case this awakening of consciousness is preceded by a period of gradual development, is instantaneous at the moment of self-realization for the first time, and is succeeded by another period of gradual evolution. This period of gradual evolution leads up to another crisis, which we call initiation. In one we have initiation into conscious existence, in the other initiation into spiritual existence or group identification. For a solar logos, individualization dates back to stages far anterior to the triplicity of solar systems which constitutes for him the eternal now, but which from man's point of view embody the past, the present, and the future. A planetary logos individualized in the previous system. A man individualizes in this. The planetary entities, now involutionary, will individualize in the next. A. Consciousness and existence. From the wider point of view, the terms initiation and individualization are synonymous. They both express the idea of an expansion of consciousness, or of entrance into a new kingdom of nature. The faculty of acquiring knowledge must be realized as paralleling the development of the sense of sight, or vision, as earlier pointed out. The fire of mind shone forth and illuminated animal man in Lemurian days, during that vast cycle when sight opened up for him the physical plane. The relationship between sight and mind is a very close one, and must not be lost from sight. In the first round, and in the first root race of this round, hearing was the sense developed. In the second round and the second root race, touch was evolved. In the third round and corresponding root race, sight was added to the other two, and the self which hears, and the not-self, which is touched, or apprehended as tangible, are related and connected by sight, the correspondence to the intelligence that links. Thus is brought about the blending of the three fires, and illumination is present. But through all this evolutionary development, the one who hears, touches, and sees, persists and interprets according to the stage of the development of the monastic principle within him. This basic interpreter is the entity, who is independent of an existence, which ever necessitates a form. His is the life that causes matter to vibrate, and he is therefore fire by friction. His is the life of pure spirit which wills to be, and which utilizes form, and is therefore electrical impulse on the cosmic physical plane, or electric fire. His is the life that not only animates the atoms and electrifies them by his own nature, but likewise knows itself to be one with all yet apart from all, the thinking, discriminating, self-realizing something that we call mind or solar fire. Universal mind or menace permeates all, and is equally that self-knowing, individualized entity whose body contains our solar logos, as well as certain other solar logoi. Whose fire, heat and radiation embrace certain other solar systems and unify them with our own system, so that one complete vital body forms the manifestation of this mighty cosmic being. Vortices of force on the cosmic etheric plane form the etheric framework of 7 solar systems, in the same way that the bodies of the 7 heavenly men are the etheric centers for a solar logos, and as the 7 centers in man, existing in etheric matter, are the animating electrical impulse of his life. To express the origin of Manas apart from manifestation through a congery of systems, a solar system, or a man is for us impossible. Only as one grasps the fact that each planetary scheme, for instance, serves as the body of a heavenly man who is the directing mind in that scheme, and the animating principle of Manas, or the active discriminating faculty which every atom in that scheme evinces. Only when it is realized that a solar logos is similarly the monasic principle of those large atoms we call schemes in their totality. Only when it is apprehended that a cosmic logos is again the instigating mind of the still vaster atoms we call systems. Only when it is admitted that man is the animating discriminative faculty of the tiny spheres, which form his body of manifestation. And finally, only when all this is meditated upon, and its truth accepted, will this question of the origin of Manas assume a less abstruse character, and the difficulty of its comprehension be less appalling. Man, the thinker, the knower, the monasic principle in the center of the many spheres which form his bodies, manipulates electrical force in three departments, the physical, astral and mental bodies, through 7 centers which are the focal points of force, and of its intelligent dispersal throughout his little system to the myriads of lesser atoms, which are the cells in these spheres. A heavenly man equally, and in a wider sense, the thinker and knower, the monasic or mind principle plus the Buddhic, or Christ principle, manipulates electrical force through 3 principal vehicles, or globes in atomic, Buddhic, and monasic matter, dispersing it from thence to the myriads of cells which correspond to the deva and human units. A solar logos in a still wider sense is the permeating universal mind, the monasic principle, plus the Buddhic, and the will principle, working in 3 major schemes, by means of 7 centers of force, and through the myriads of groups which are the cells in his body, in the same way as human beings are the cells in the body of a heavenly man. The cosmic logos of our system works similarly through 3 major systems, of which ours is not one, utilizing 7 solar systems, of which ours is one, for the distribution of his force and having myriads of 7-fold groups as the cells of his body. B. Will and ordered purpose. Thus all that we can really predicate and the origin of Manas is that it is the unified will activity, or the purposeful expression of the realized identity of some great self which colors the life and swings into intelligent cooperation all the lesser units included in its sphere of influence. Each of us, in illustration, is the thinking purposeful entity who acts as the monasic principle, and the spring of action, to all the units included in our 3 bodies. Each of us sways them to our will. We act, and by acting, force cooperation as we see fit. The Logos does the same on a larger scale. In this thought lies light on the question of karma, of free will and of responsibility. Manas is, really will working itself out on the physical plane, and the truth of this will be seen when it is realized, that all our planes form the cosmic physical plane, while an entity, inconceivably greater than our Logos, is working out a set purpose through the Logos, through us, through all spirit substance that is included within his sphere of radiatory activity. Certain problems of real interest